In this lesson, I would like to show you how to create your own slide layout, and I will also include a little bit of animation with the layout. Step 1, in your presentation, let's move to Slide View. I'll hold down my Shift key and click on the Normal View button. Next, I'm going to go ahead and slide all the way to the bottom. I don't have to do this, but I'm going to go ahead and insert a new layout down here. Although you could insert the layout anywhere within your slide master layouts. The idea of my layout will be a slide where I will perform a question-answer period for my audience. To create the new layout, I will come up and choose Insert Layout. Next, I don't want to see the normal background graphics that I would see from the master layout. So what I'm going to do is come up and just choose Hide Background Graphics. I also don't want to see the date up here at the top, so I'm going to go ahead and click and delete the date. I don't want to see the footer, so I will click to select the footer and delete the footer. Next, I'll insert a rectangle shape. Give it a fill, and the shape outline, I think I'll go ahead and say no outline. This will give me a color that's the same as my master colors that I'm using here already. I'll also type in some text here. I'll just click and type the text. I'll move it off to the left, Home, left align, I'll click on the text, I'm going to pull it off the side just a little bit, and I'm going to give it the same headings I had before, the heading style, and I'll bump up the size. Next, I want to include the letters Q and A so the audience can see a question and an answer. So I'm going to just use some fun graphics to put this together. I'll say Insert, Text Box, I'll click a text box and type the letter Q. Next, I'll go ahead and format the Q. Now currently I'm flashing in edit mode, so I'll press Escape to back out into the object mode, and I'll bump up the font a little bit. I'm also going to change the font to something unusual. I'll change this to Algerian, and maybe just for fun, I'll go ahead, hold my Shift key down, and crank this 15 degrees to the right. Next, I'll use my arrow keys and move this up to a place where I'd like, maybe bump it up a little more. And I'm going to go ahead and give it the same color as the brown that I'm using here. So I'll click the drop down arrow for the font, and I think we're using this brown color here. So that's the way I'll start. I'd like to also use the exact same format for the letter A for answer. So what I'm going to do is just select this, press Escape to make sure that you're not in this text edit mode, press once, then do a Control-C followed by a Control-V. Use your arrow keys to move this down, and then I will select this, backspace out, and type in the letter A. And there's my Q and there's my A. Maybe I'll add a colon after these as well. Next, I want to add some placeholders for my text. I'll move back to Slide Master and choose Insert Placeholder, and I'm just going to choose the text placeholder, and I will come out and click somewhere to drop this in. I'm going to go ahead and stretch this out, stretch this down, and I don't need to see the second, third, fourth, and level outline leveling, so I'm going to go ahead and select those and press Delete. And I'm also going to highlight my text that I have here, and I'll just type in something else. And I'll say Add Question here. I'll go ahead and press Escape or click on the border to get out of that text edit mode, and then I'll come back out to my Home tab and bump this up. Make it bold, and I'll also give this the same color as the border up here at the top just to make it look good. Next, I'm going to go ahead and reduce this down. I want my answer box to look exactly the same. I'm going to line this up right about there with my question. I'm going to go ahead and do a Control-C followed by a Control-V to paste this. I'm going to do it one more time. Then I'm going to use my arrow keys and arrow this box down here at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and grab my second box and move it down here. I'm going to use my tools here to line this up, so I'm just going to make sure that we're lined up evenly here. I'll grab this guy, pull it up, make sure I'm lined up evenly here. This is going to be a commentary section I have down here at the bottom. Now, add question here. This one's supposed to say add answer. So I'll just say add answer here. And I'll say add comment here. Next, let's add some animation. Now when I move to the slide, I want this to fade in slowly. Whatever question they ask, I want it to fade in slowly. So I'm going to click on this box, come out to animations, and I'm going to say fade. And I'm going to say over here on the right, I'm going to say start after the previous event. The previous event will be moving on to the slide. So when this slide comes into place, that's when this is going to kick off. The duration of the fade is going to be 1 second, and it's going to start immediately. There will be no delay. It'll start immediately after the slide comes into play. Down here in the next box, I'm going to say I want it to fade in, and I want it to fade in over 1 second, and I'm going to do this on the mouse click. So when the slide comes up, all the users, the audience will see is just the question. The answer and the comment will be in the background, but they will not show until I click the mouse. So I'm going to say on click, the duration is going to be 1 second, and there will be no delay. This guy, I'm going to say that it's going to take place with a fade after the previous event. The previous event was this guy. So after I click, this question will show up, and I want this to delay just a little bit longer. I'm going to make it a 1 second fade, and I want it to delay about 1.5 seconds. So I'll see this answer, and then 1.5 seconds later, this will fade in. So I have this guy, which is going to start after the previous event, which is the slide. I have this guy, which is going to fade on the mouse click. It's going to wait until I do the mouse click. And this guy is going to fade in after this guy comes in. 1.5 seconds after this guy comes in with a fade, but only after I click. So I think I'm all set up here. Let's give this a shot. Before I do this, I think I'll come out and rename my new layout. So my layout's down here at the bottom. I'm going to right click and choose rename layout. And I'm just going to call this Q and A with animation. I'll click on rename. Now this is my first, which is 0. This is my second, which is 1. This is my next, which is 1. Why are they both 1? Because this one triggers off of this guy. So that's why it's 1 and not 2. So here we go. I'm going to click back on my normal view, my slide view button. I'm back in my slide. I'm going to click right here, and I'm going to insert a new slide. I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom and choose Q&A. And up here, I'm going to type my question. So here we go. I'm going to ask, what is the capital of Hungary? The answer will be Budapest. And the Danube River bisects the city will be some commentary that I have afterward. So let's see how this works. I'm going to come out here, just click on my first slide here, start my slideshow. I'll press click. Up comes the slide. It says quiz time. What is the capital of Hungary? I'll sit and wait for the audience to ponder. When I have the answer, I will click. It fades in, and then 1.5 seconds later, the commentary comes in as well. Now there's some other changes I'd like to make to this guy. I noticed that the question and answer text itself is off a little bit from the Q&A, so I might move that. Also, I might make the answer and the commentary a little different color than the question, just to make it stand out. So I'll press escape to back out, and I'll go back in my slide master view. I'm going to hold my shift key, click on my normal view button, come back down here, go to my layout, and make those changes here. So I'm going to grab this guy, press escape, and just move it up there. I'm going to click this guy, press escape, move it up here so they're a little more level. Also, I think what I'm going to do is click on this guy, hold my control key, click here, hold my control key, click here, and change the color of this font. So I'm going to come out here and change this color to maybe this dark color here. And let's see how things look now when I go back out. So I'm going to click on my normal view. I'll go back out and take a look at my slide. And now this is what my slide looks like. Looks a little better. Let's add another slide. I'll click down below this slide. I will say new slide. Scroll down, choose Q&A, and I'll add my questions and answer comments over here. So I'll ask, how many pints in a gallon? There's 8 pints. My commentary will be, there are 2 pints in a quart. To doctor this up a little more, maybe I'll change the background out here as well. Also notice this text is poking out here. So let's do that. I'm going to come back out here, hold my Shift key, click on my normal view button, and then back out here I'm going to right click and format the background of this slide. Okay, so I just went out here to fill and made some gradient changes, and you can see what's taking place here. Alright, let's go back out and have a look at my slide presentation. I'll click here, start the slideshow. Click, there's my first slide. What is the capital of Hungary? Budapest. A second and a half later, this shows up. Here's my click to go to my next slide. How many pints in a gallon? 8 pints, and then a second and a half, and I get the commentary as well.